Well, hi, and welcome to my shop. I'm still working on this Sony 2001. I'm going to give it another shot here, and then if I don't get anywhere, I'm going to set it aside for a while and go on to some other projects. So, last thing that happened was I removed the on-off switch, and unfortunately, I have to report that it didn't help when I reinstalled it. Sorry there. As usual, I'm saying one thing, thinking about something else while I'm doing this. Well, it's on, but there's nothing happening. It's been on all night. I left it on all night, not really on purpose, but... So let's just make sure that it's getting this supply into the radio. Yeah. The voltage you're getting in there, why aren't you doing the right thing? Oh, there could still be all kinds of reasons here. Let's check the 14, but I'd be really surprised if it's not there. There it is, 14, right on the money. And of course, we know the 3 must be there because the display is working. There it is. Let's see. Usually I wave my hand around the right way and stomp my foot on the ground and the radio comes on. Let's try that. Didn't work this time. Okay, let's try the switch. Here we go. Now, I have a lot of confidence in that switch now. Okay, now the radio has come to life a number of times when I've been lowering the top onto it, causing some effect I have not been able to really get a grip on other than flexing these big heavy wires here, especially this one. Yet when I do this manual flexing, it doesn't do anything. Well, let's give that a go. I'll just try setting the top down. We'll see if the radio comes to life. Now, interestingly enough, the display has gone right off, so I think I probably bumped the on-off switch. Yes, I have, so let me turn it back on. Yeah, the radio on the digital side, it appears to be working fine. It's pretty slow, but that's probably just the way it worked. The volume's definitely turned up. Should hear it. It's not coming on for me doing this. There really seemed to be a spot where when I moved this a certain way, it seemed to go on and off. I don't see it at all now. Now the wires that come from the radio and go up into this top piece, the ones I'm flexing, they're driving two things. One is the signal strength LED set and the digital display, which isn't flickering or flashing or anything at all. It's completely normal. Oh! There, I probably bumped the switch again. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think I did. I was doing something like right in there. So if I tune it, you can see the numbers go up. Pretty slow to change though, aren't they? But that could be normal. I mean, I could be knocking off the 3-volt supply by accident. I got clip leads in here. Yeah, I'm flexing those wires a fair bit. I mean, I'm not putting a lot of strain on it. I don't intend to break them, but surely to goodness they will give trouble if I keep this up long enough. Huh? Okay, let's go on the assumption that the computer is in a state where it's preventing the radio from operating, which means I need to reboot the, at least the radio. So we'll switch it off, pull out the power plug, put in the power plug, and here we go, turning it on. The digital part has come on, but the radio has not. Okay. Yeah, I did say somewhere back in the comments on a video that I need to start at square one with this radio again and verify the B+ voltages. So let's do that a little bit. Okay. On the output of the DC to DC converter, we should find 4.4 volts on the inside wire. Check this wire. This is one of the outputs, 4.4 volts. 4.4 volts. Watch the voltmeter there on the inside wire. So I should see 4.4 there. Look at that. That's kind of odd. I saw 5 there for a bit. What's it doing? I'm not sure if that's my, I'm holding the meter poorly, or is that really what's going on with that voltage? 0? How do you get a 0 there? Oh, maybe the supply thing here is going wonky. No? Hey, we got a hold of something here. This is not reading right. What's going on? I get a really good contact with my voltmeter. Hold still. .52. Why was I getting all those weird readings there for a while? Now it's happy. Well, that's supposed to be 4.4. This is cool. See, this felt warm early on in the in my testing. I noticed this was warm. Doesn't seem warm now, though. Okay, let's look at some other voltages. That one's a little wonky. Let's just double check and make sure I'm doing this right also. Definitely, that should be 4.4 output from the converter. And it's connected back to that transistor, Q27. You know, that's an input. That's an input to the converter. Yeah, that's the input. The input's supposed to be 4.4. The input is actually 5.2. And that implicates Q27. Okay, so Q27, the base should be a, let's call it a controlled voltage. I think I would look at it that way. That regardless of what's going on with the transistor, you should see the proper base voltage. Don't know how true that is. The transistor is probably short, base to collector, base to emitter. Q27. So let's take a look at the base of Q27, which is supposed to be 3.7 volts. And we've done this many times, and it's certainly not. It's 4.8 volts. Okay, so 4.8 volts instead of 3.7. So how does that get to the wrong voltage? That's got a resistor. Q26 is part of the picture there. But the only voltage for Q26 I can find on here is 0 volts on the base of Q26. And the base being inboard. So we'll take a look at Q26 here. And we get 0.5. A little hard for you to see that on there, isn't it? That's a little better. So let me check it again. This, I believe, is the base. 0.5. That doesn't seem right. So 0.5 on the base of Q26. It's supposed to be 0. Oh, wait a minute. Am I getting this right? Yeah, I am getting this right. Well, there should be 2 wires right near that. There they are, 2 wires right near there. And the inboard wire should see 4.5 volts on the inboard wire. .62. Now, why should you see 4.5? That suspiciously sounds like the battery voltage. Okay, so the batteries come in. It's very strange how they've shown this. Right out to here, 4.5, yeah, right onto Q27. So the battery voltage is impressed right onto Q27. I can remember that in the circuit diagram. And then there's that R90, and you're grounding the base. So as I turn it on and off, R90 should be grounding. R90. So that's probably R90 right there. Now let me use a clip lead on my negative voltmeter leader. I got too much to hold on to otherwise. Let's go here. Okay, far side of R90. Okay, the radio's on and that's reading 0 and that's proper. If I turn it off, the meter goes off. If I turn it off, there we see the 4.6 volts. I turn it back on, down she goes to ground, just the way it's supposed to. And that's drawing down the base on Q27. It doesn't fully ground it, I guess. So let's go on the this is the base. It's not making much difference, is it? They turned the switch on and off. That certainly doesn't seem right. The switch off, this base should be pulled down. It's supposed to be at 3.7. It's nowhere near it. And I'm pretty sure it's how would this work, eh? Let's look at the circuit diagram. Strain my brain a little bit here looking at this. If you got the same circuit diagram, you're trying to follow along. So I'm looking at the right around where the 4.5 volt batteries are in that. Great. Here. So there's Q27. There's the 3.7 volts. There's the resistor. Okay, the far side of the resistor drops completely to ground when I operate the switch, as it should. But with the switch open, and that is to say with the radio off, like it is now, this voltage can float high depending upon what's happening with Q26. So Q26 is shown with 0 volts on the base. I remind myself where the base is on it again. Q26 inboard, pulsed inboard. So this is the base voltage here. And there's something there. Doesn't change much when I flip the switch. Now, let's look again at the base of Q26. Wow, where's that going? 4.5 volts is fed on, there's another line here. There's another line here. The 4.5 should be on all the time around this IC203. Right to that diode 201. You should always see 4.5 volts to diode 201 regardless of switch position. Okay. Where's diode 201? There it is. It's way back here. I actually found it. 201. Very hard to say exactly where it's wired in here, but let's look around and see if we can find a 4.5 volts here. There it is. And of course it's not 4.5, it's 5.6. That's what's coming in on the supply here. 5.6. So it's making it all the way up to here. There it is. So the raw battery voltage, or in this case coming from the supply here. Makes it all the way up into here. And then what happens? And that supply should be there whether the radio's on or off. It goes through the diode. On the other side of the diode we should see 0.8 volts. I think that's what we should see. If I'm reading this right, 0.8 volts on the far side of the diode. I'm really not sure which one of these is the diode. That might be it there. Okay, so this shows the diode a little clearer. Appears to be very much between these 2 points here. So that's one side of the diode. That's the other side of the diode. Yeah, it says 0.8 volts right in there. But I see 2.97. This is way off. Let's operate the switch here. Just make sure we're in the right state. Maybe we're not. You know, this voltage isn't changing one bit, is it? It's completely insensitive. That's changing a bit because that's 5.9 with a, let's call it open circuit supply. I think now it's never open circuit, in fact. And we turn it on, we see a small drop. That's just more load on the supply batteries, I think. Supply, not batteries, but so I think that's all that is. Huh. Glowing diode there. Now, you know, this is an intermittent problem. A lot of electronic parts, when they fail, they're not coming back. They're failed. Yes, they can be intermittent, it's true. But I think more commonly, when a solid-state device fails, it's finished. Man, there's so much stuff in there, all kinds of little voltages, 0.05, 0.55. See if we can find one that's easy to measure here. 3 volts on the wire jumper. Yeah. Three volts on here. Yeah. No. It's like either 1.3 or 13 volts on the last pin of this. 14. If I got the right spot here. Okay, let's go up around where we're seeing funny stuff. It's supposed to be 3 volts on the 3rd pin down on this chip. There it is. And also on the next pin. There it is. Then it looks like 0, 0, and then 3. Not a 0. 3. That's not right, is it? 0, 0. It should be 3 volts, 0, 0, 3, 3, 0. So we'll try that. 3 volts, here we are. That's supposed to be a 0. Switch is off. Let's switch it on. Oh, look at that. We switched it on and it dropped, but it didn't drop to 0. Okay, let's try it again. We got 3 volts, not 0. Same thing, not 0. 3 volts, 3 volts. Very hard to see. It looks like 0.2 volts. Oh my gosh, on this last. I got 0 there. 3 there. 3 there. Well, this is the first place I've really found voltages out of whack, other than being too high because of the supply voltage. I'm going blind looking at this chart. It's so small. Maybe I should have printed it and blown up. With my own magnifying glass here. Well, when I check under a magnifying glass, I got it right. I got the voltages right. Lots is should be a 0.8 on pin 6. So it should be 0.8. 0.8, no comment, 0, 3, 0, something like that. So 1. There's no 1 on that list. 8. 0.8. There is a 0.8. It's supposed to be up here though. 3. See that 3 volts there? I'm definitely on the... I'm reading almost 3 volts on the second pin down, and on the chart here, that's supposed to be 0.8. It's supposed to be the 0.8 on the far side of that diode. And the other side of that diode should have the supply voltage, which we saw. There it is. A very high supply. On the other side, nowhere near 0.8. Wow, okay, so I think I'm going to go study the schematic for this area up in here and try to understand a little more about these voltages and what's going on there. See if I can't conjure up a theory. My theory at this point is there's something wrong here. That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it. You know what? That other wire, the other stiff wire, comes right up onto these chip leads on the back here. So if we are talking stiff wire trouble, it could show up right in this area. It'd be nice to have the radio working and then check those again. Yeah, if the radio should start working, I'll check these same voltages and see if they haven't come into normal range. Okay, let's just do stuff and see if we can make this radio. Jeez. Magic fingers. Man alive. I just can't. Oh, okay. I'm going to go get my cup of coffee here for a minute. Everybody, just ponder that situation. Hey, it's a beautiful day here. Cold again, I think it's minus 10 or minus 12. Sun shining and fresh snow fell overnight quite a bit. And so everything is white and glistening and the sun is bright. And here I am down in my dark shop. Yes, but I know what lies ahead for me. And that's a shoveling of the driveway lies ahead. So let's check those voltages before the goblin comes back. Okay, let's see. Now, other side of that diode. Okay, so at the diode, still the high voltage. On the other side, still high. Still way high. So this next pin, this should be 0.8. Look at it, it's 2.9. Is the radio really operating? Let's see. Oh. Sure seems to be fully operational right now. Even with these apparently incorrect voltages. Well, it kind of blows my theory out of the water, doesn't it? The radio's working. Let's go back and look at Q26 now. While it's working, we should see 0 volts on the base of Q26. .5, and I can't remember what we were seeing before, doggone it. That's a lot closer to 0. And the voltage is on the Q27 again. Battery voltage on 2 of them, and 4.7 on the base. And the base should be reading 3.7. And we should see almost the same voltage, by the way, on the 2 other terminals. 4.4, 4.5. Oh, that's interesting. Of course, 4.5 is the battery voltage, and 4.4 is slightly less. Let's see if that's really the case. So 5.56, 5.5, that is the case. Now, the output voltage from the D to D converter. We should see 18 volts on one side of a little capacitor that's not the inboard. That's this one here. Holy smoke, I don't know if I can get up under there. Oh, I got the board out. Oh, let's try tipping the board up. That ought to kill it. Here. Well, I'm going to have trouble reading voltages with one voltmeter read. How long has it been like that? I mean, the voltage has to be there because the thing is working. Here we go. You see 18? 14. 14. Thought that was supposed to be 18. Isn't that a bit of a confuser? Because 14 is a voltage in here too. But I only see, I don't see the 18. Doesn't this just keep you guessing? Well, let's turn it on and off a few times. Well, I've turned it off and it's not going off again. Quickly. Why is that? How can that be? That should have pulled the base of... look at that. Isn't that interesting? That was interesting. What happened there? Okay, base of that's 26. That's definitely the base. Supposed to be 0 volts on it. Let's do a little experiment there. Okay, so it's got half a volt on it. I pull the power out. The radio's switched on. I'll switch it off. Seems to stay at half a volt. Half a volt slowly going down, I think. Turn it back on, it's gone up a little bit. Turn it back on, it's gone up a little bit, but there's no 4.5 volt supply, so somehow some of the 3 volt supply must be making it there. Let me disconnect the 3 volt supply. And there it goes. Oh! What happened there? I'm not sure what that was. Let's put it back on. And it comes back. And we'll put in the supply voltage. Switch is on right now. Let's turn the switch off. Switch is off. Put in the supply voltage. So an immediate jump. 0.72 with it off. Now we turn the switch on. Not much of a change. No radio operation. Now, didn't we, I just touched this the last time and it came on, didn't I? Yeah, there's a 0 at the other end. Have I got this backwards? The 0 at the other end looks like it is ground. A little hard to tell here. Okay. Now, what happened? Okay, base of 26. Still reading the same. Base of 26, eh? Well, that's interesting now. There's a cable. I don't see any such cable. Oh yes, it's this one. This cable, which runs right up out of that area. Well, Actually, it doesn't run right up out of that area. It runs up down here. But I think it's involved. Well, there you go. Another bizarre journey into this radio. It just seems to decide for itself when it wants to work. Oh my gosh, oh yeah. Oh, the display is not running now. How does that work? Come on, radio. The radio is completely working, no display. Let's see if we've got the low voltage display thing happening here. No, there's no indication on the display at all. Nothing. You know what? The voltage on the other side of this diode is still wrong. Unless that's the voltage there. That's not right either. I mumble. I'm watching for the display to kick in, but it's not interested in working. Yeah. Okay, man. You know, I think there's an evil spirit in here, and it's moving around in the circuitry, and it's hanging out in different areas, causing different problems at different times. And I keep chasing it with my soldering iron, and I believe we actually saw it jump out of the radio at one point on another video. That's what it must be. It's got to be an evil spirit, and I really need to use some kind of exorcism to get it out of here. That's kind of where I'm getting to. You're witnessing the birth of religion here. Okay, I think that's enough for now. I'm going to have to set this aside, even though I could poke around lots more, because it keeps giving me little bits of feedback, you know. Hey, let's turn it off. So there you are. There's lots of information for those of you who are really digging into this with me. Conjured up a fair bit of information here. I certainly don't know what it means. Okay, that's it. We're on to other things now. See you in the next video.